What's up guys, Travis Rayner from Gym Rats here. So you're having trouble building your biceps, right? And you've come to me today and my video because you need help with that. I think I can help you, alright? I'm not really sure, but I think I can help you. That's a joke, alright? Because to be honest, I've always had trouble building my biceps, alright? I've made a hell of a lot of mistakes, but ultimately I ended up being able to use these techniques to be able to build decent sized arms. So what I want to do today is help you guys to not make these same mistakes that I did. Alright, so first I like to think, when we get into different aspects of training your biceps, there's definitely mechanical issues. From the way you're lifting the dumbbells, when you're twisting, whether or not you're lifting your arm and contracting fully. I'll actually be making a video on that soon. It's going to be titled 5 Mechanical Mistakes That You're Doing Wrong When You're Training Biceps. And you're going to want to see that. But today I'm going to be telling you the 2 things that you're definitely doing wrong that are holding you back from getting such good gains. Because I've experienced it firsthand. The number 1 thing is your training frequency, and the second thing is your lack of variation in bicep training techniques. First of all, as your training frequencies go, we kind of have to look at the mechanics of the bicep, alright? So 2 of the main functions that the bicep does is one is supinates the elbow, and another is that it flexes the elbow. That's their biggest driver and function because of the connection from here down. They also have the ability to get a little bit of shoulder flexion because of the attachment of the long heads in your glenohumeral joint in your shoulder. Because of that, you have to realize that you're actually training your biceps a lot more than you think. Alright, so whenever you're doing a back day, a pull day, whether you're doing chin-ups, one-arm rows, regular rows, you're training your biceps, and your biceps are a very small muscle group in your body, so we're actually hitting those a lot more than we think. So anytime we do an extra targeting day on your biceps, you're actually hitting your biceps possibly 3, maybe even 4 times in a week, and that's just too much training to allow them, to recuperate and actually build muscle tone on top, muscle mass on top. So giving that muscle group time to relax and recuperate is going to mean that you can go back into the gym the following day and stimulate that muscle group in a much more meaningful way. Not to just coast through a workout and half-ass it, in a much more meaningful way that actually stimulates muscle growth and progressive overload. So when we talk about variation techniques, what we're really talking about is how, the bicep really only has 2 functions, right? So in most exercises you do, like compared to working shoulders, we're talking about a hinge joint here as opposed to a ball and socket joint in your shoulder. So, when we're talking about shoulders, lateral raises are going to look different than one-arm rows, bent rows, military press, anything like that. We have a much vaster variety of exercises that we can do to stimulate shoulder growth. When we're talking about biceps, there's not much we can do. You're curling in almost every single one of these workouts and all of these exercises. Whether it's an isolated curl, whether it's a spider curl, a preacher curl, standing curl, barbell curl, easy bar curl, any of that, we're very limited in the exercises we can do. What we can do is use different variation techniques to increase our muscle mass and really do a better job stimulating the bicep. So, progressive overload and any overload in itself is going to take a very dramatic change in how we're doing these exercises. So I'm going to show you 2 tips that you can use today to increase the size and the efficiency of your workouts when you're training biceps. So let me show you a few different ways you could do that. The first thing I'd like to cover here is one I called sliced reps. I take a weight I can normally use for 15 reps and perform a curl all the way to the top, and when I come down, I drop 1/9 of the way down. Now you don't have to get out your ruler and measure what that is. Just drop it an estimated 1/9 of the way and come back up to the top and contract. Then drop down a little more, then come back to the top. Then a little bit more, and come back to the top. So through 9 levels here, it takes you to get all the way to the bottom of the curl. Then you come all the way back up to the top, and then you divide it, and slice it into 8 pieces. Then you come back down, then you drop it, and you now slice it into 7 pieces, ultimately, until you get down to your last 2, where you're going down halfway. Then come back up to the top, all the way down, and your last rep is 1 full rep. So now what's happening here? We're increasing our volume within a set. We're increasing the number of contractions we get here. We're spending a lot more time in the contracted position of the curl because we keep coming back to it on every slice. We're increasing the time under tension throughout the course of this set, and again, although the range of motion is abbreviated in a single rep, you're still getting full range of motion as you go from top to bottom throughout the course of the dropping ladder here. The fact is that this is a way to intensify the curl. That is going to be how you're going to increase your muscle mass. By doing your bicep workouts, again, by overloading your muscles and creating a new stimulus that your muscles have never felt before. As opposed to just saying, I'm going to go from exercise to exercise here and do it every time that you're doing your bicep workout. We don't just have to use that technique though, okay? We have another technique called our arc variation. With an arc variation, we can change the movement of the arm itself, like we see with Joe here. Using a long movement, we can keep our forearm straight as long as possible, and our elbow, our elbows are just a little bit at the front side of our rib cage. We know we have a big long arc. A long moment arm for the biceps that make that weight feel extremely heavy and put a great challenge on the biceps. But we don't have to stop at this point. As we get fatigued and tired, we can bring our elbows into the sides more, even into this drag curl variation that really shortens the moment arm on the biceps. Not only that, it changes the strength curve of the exercise, so the hard part isn't in the middle of the exercise, but actually here at the peak contraction of the exercise. So we're able to take failure and extend it further and further, intensifying the curl. Again, it's all curls, but we've intensified that. And that's going to lead to bigger biceps in the long run because you've gotten too stale with the fact that you haven't utilized enough of these techniques. And I'll give you one more here. It's actually called intensity. The intensity style here is you're going to try to increase the amount of productive reps you're doing with a bit of heavier weight now. What we do is take an exercise and go to failure in about the 5 to 6 rep range. Then we rest pause for 10 seconds. We don't put the weight down, we just rest pause. You'll see that, guess what? After about 10 or 15 seconds, you can crank out another 3 reps. That's enough time to rest and get out another 3 reps. Then you rest again, 10 to 15 seconds, and then you go for another 3 reps. Then you're maybe going for 2 reps, and then ultimately you're going down in singles. But if you do this for a 5-minute period of time, when you accumulate the number of high-intensity reps that you did in these 5-minute set, the number of reps you did with this heavier weight is to be more than you likely did when you broke your sets up, into the traditional 3 sets of 12 style. Again, using heavier weight anyway to get into this 5 to 6 rep range, and you're accumulating more of those heavy reps. So no matter what style you're looking for, heavier or lighter weights, 15 rep maxes or 5 to 6 rep maxes, the key is this. It's not the exercise variation, guys, it's the variation of the intensity techniques you're using on those exercises. That will matter the most. As far as frequency goes, guys, highly recommend dialing the frequency back. As you'll see over time, by using these techniques and stuff like that, instead of adding more days of working this specific muscle group in a week, you're gonna see better results. Alright, I promise you that. Guys, I hope this was helpful to you. I'm Travis from Gym Rats, and see you in the next one. I typed it out, okay? You ready? I don't even know what I meant. With an arc variation, we know that the moment arm can be changed if we stand here like Joe is. They swim. No. Okay, you ready?
No.